What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down 3 things that wide receivers can do to be an unstoppable wide receiver this season. So I hope this video helps you guys out. I hope it teaches you a few new things. And also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want a more kind of advanced side of things, workout plan, workout schedule that you can follow on a day-to-day basis, check out that very first link in the description below for our 4-week wide receiver on-field workout schedule 2.0. So this is the next step up from our original version 1 on-field 4-week plan, and it gives you more advanced workouts, more advanced sets, more advanced reps that you guys can do, or I should say a little bit more difficult. So check out that very first link below if interested, fellas. Will give you 100+ drills and a video explanation of each one. So again, very first link below. Let's get started. So the first thing that you got to understand as a wide receiver, it's not necessarily knowing how to do all the moves, how to make the cuts, how to do the releases. It's also knowing about when to do the releases. So when we have different kinds of press coverage, right, you could have inside leverage, you could have head up, you could have outside leverage like this DB right here. And if you know how to attack each specific leverage that a DB might be throwing at you, your process off the line, your game gets a lot simpler. The goal of the wide receiver position is to be efficient and to be able to play fast. So the first thing that could help you be dominant is understanding a DB's leverage. So in this specific case here, this DB is going to be outside leverage, right? Now, you see where Sky Moore's split is on the field. This is how you can kind of anticipate this type of outside leverage coverage when you're maybe playing a team on film and you're trying to understand how DBs play. So why would a DB ever be playing outside leverage? Well, first of all, what's he trying to prevent? Trying to prevent the fade, trying to prevent, a 5-yard out. Anything outside breaking, that's why he is sitting right there. Now, as a DB, if it's man coverage, like let's say it's cover 1, right? They got one high safety in the middle of the field, everybody's man underneath. Why would he ever be an outside shade? Because he's expecting the outside route from the wide receiver. So let's say, for example, or not for example, on this example, you see how these are the top of the numbers. Sky Moore has a reduced split right here. He is lined up maybe like 2 to 3 yards inside of the top of the numbers. So he's got a ton of space to the outside. So as a smart DB, what would I be thinking? Probably an outside breaking route. He's probably trying to run a 10-yard out, a corner, to use all of this space. Now, I'm completely fine with him running an inside route because look what he has here, safety help. So he's fine with more just running the slant, running the post, running the dig, because that will run into his help. But as a wide receiver, I need to understand that if I do have that inside breaking route, I got to make sure I threaten this guy to create a bigger window for my quarterback. It's all based on knowing it's all based on knowing what the DB is trying to accomplish and what I can do with my release or my type of release to get separation. So Moore decides to go with this kind of like crossover move, right? He attacks the leverage of the DB. He does this crossover. He makes this inside jab, throws with his right foot, hips and shoulders are here, and he's closing the cushion with the DB. Because when he's outside leverage, we want to threaten him outside. Threaten him to where he doesn't want you to go, because that's what's going to get him to actually move off that platform if we threaten him where he doesn't want us to go. Now, guess what? That creates just a bigger window for my quarterback and allows me some space to get that ball. If I just take off, let's just say, for example, this DB's outside shade, and we just took off the ball and just ran the slant. He'd get right into my hip, force me to that safety help, and I would not have a big window for my QB. So I have to threaten his leverage. Same thing as if you had to, let's say, run a fade. And let's say that DB's lined up inside shade. You have to run an inside shade. DB's inside shade, you got to run a fade. Instead of just taking off and running and letting him get hands and squeeze you to the sideline, we attack his leverage. We threaten him to where he doesn't want me to go, which is inside, and then I could go run that fade. So to be a dominant wide receiver, to honestly be successful at the wide receiver position, is not knowing the releases. It's not knowing the moves. Yes, you have to work on those, and yes, you have to know the mechanics behind those, but when do you actually use those? Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Moore attacking that DB's leverage, creating a bigger window for himself against outside shade press. All right, so now this is a clip here from A.J. Brown at Eagles training camp. And main thing I want to talk about here is just how he's able to accelerate out of the break to make up for maybe, a smoothness on a cut or just to make this DB pay because we got separation. So let's play at full speed. So he comes off the ball. He decides to go with this diamond release, right? But the main thing that so many wide receivers struggle with is that they will work something like a diamond release, right? So what is a diamond release? Diamond release is where you attack the outside shoulder of this DB, and you're trying to get him to flip his hips and commit to the fade. So if we can get him to flip his hips and commit to the fade, I can slip back underneath and run a slant. If you guys are familiar with our channel, our page, what we teach, that's something that we teach a lot of. Now, when we do get this DB to flip his hips, on every single situation, you want to think of the 3 phases of the route. Number 1, the first phase is selling. Whether you're selling vertical or whether you're selling like a slant on a double move or a post, whatever it is, You have to make sure that we are selling. Number 2, the break point has to be sudden and create energy because that's where I get separation. And then phase 3, accelerate. I have to accelerate out of the route. So a lot of receivers, as soon as they get that DB to bite, as soon as they get him off the platform, they'll get right here and they will start to jog because they think they got him beat. They'll expect the ball right away and they don't pump their arms. They don't drive their feet. But to be dominant, fellas, you have to not only get separation, but we have to keep separation on the breaks that I had. So when we make this diamond release, we sold the fade, we got his hips out of there. Let's accelerate. Let's pump my arms and let's go win the race to the ball. Now, some people might say, oh, well, he's not open. The only reason the DB ain't making a play on this is because we accelerated. You got to have all 3 phases of that route down. I have to be able to sell the route, I got to be able to create separation, and I got to be able to keep separation. Those are the 3 keys to being an elite route runner and being dominant when it comes to stuff off the line. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by A.J. Brown setting this guy up with the diamond release. Again, DB gets physical. Maybe we don't have the smoothest cut. We got to make up for it with my acceleration. All right. So last thing that we are going to discuss today in terms of being a dominant wide receiver is being able to win those 50-50 catches. So I think as a wide receiver, let's say you're, maybe you're a youth guy trying to stand out to, a high school coach. Maybe you're a high school player who's trying to stand out to a college coach. Maybe you're just trying to make the team. Every single coach wants a receiver who is a playmaker, who they can rely on in the red zone, who they can rely on downfield. And a lot of times being a playmaker has to do with making big catches, making big plays. So these 50-50 catches are something that if you get thrown that ball, we shouldn't treat it like, 50% of the time the DB will get it. It should be, I'm freaking catching this ball 9 out of 10 times unless the DB plays it perfectly. And how we can do that is by doing the following. So we're watching T. Higgins right here. He goes up, wins this high point. He does this pull back method. So if you guys watched our video yesterday about catching, we talked a little bit about this jump ball. So when you go up for a jump ball, 50-50 ball, maybe the ball's underthrown on a deep fade and you got to come back to it, you got to go up strong. You have to be strong. That's a mindset thing. You're going up strong. You are not letting this DB make a play on your hands. So when we go up strong for the ball, this is where a lot of receivers struggle because on the way down, they caught the ball, but on the way down, that's where the DB gets that PBU. That's where he can knock that ball out of our hands. So when we go up for this ball, we go up strong, but we got to make sure that we protect it. So what T. Higgins does here is he does this pullback method. Now, I'm not saying this is the only method because we're going to talk about another one as well. But when we catch this ball, you have to use something of your body as a shield to that defender. So when we secure that ball, he pulls it over the top of his head. So guess what? When he pulls it over the top of his head, can that DB make a play on it on the way down? No. If he's holding the ball not over his head and he's holding it right here in his chest, what can that DB do? Hit it on the way down. And then it's a PBU, and then he made a great play. So we have to use either my body or my head as a shield. You want to put your body or head between the defender and the ball. Now, what's another thing he could do? As soon as he catches it, he could have ripped it away. When you catch that ball and secure it, you rip it away. You put your body right here and you almost turn your back to the DB, but just something to protect that ball. Because fellas, if you could win these catches all the time, you're a very dominant receiver. That DB, that defense as a whole will start to give you a little bit more respect because they know that you are a threat in that red zone and a threat downfield. If you can catch every ball that's thrown up to you, imagine what kind of separation that could do for you on your routes. Let's say, for example, we're in the middle of the field. We're on the 50-yard line. You're right here. We got a DB right here, right? DB's here. And they know you're that vertical threat that will catch everything thrown to you. When you're running routes, what do you think this DB's going to do? Bailing way out of there. So that creates separation on comebacks, curls, digs, out routes, everything, because you are that threat downfield. And that is what it takes to be dominant. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Higgins, high point that ball and then ripping it to protect that ball on the way down. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. Always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like a 4-week wide receiver on-field workout schedule with everything you should do as a wide receiver to improve your skills, know when to use each thing because we give a video explanation of each drill, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.